Hey, what is up, guys? Chase here, bringing you my UFC 242 predictions show. Just a reminder to you guys that this show is an early show. This show will start at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So if you guys like to go out and watch the shows, make sure you call your local pub or bar or tavern or whatever you guys watch your shows at, and call and make sure that they're actually going to show the show. Because keep in mind, in America, if you live in America, 2 p.m. Eastern time, that's when the big college games like to start, and you do not want to go to your bar and then you just realize, oh, we didn't know the fight was happening at 2 p.m. We thought it was happening at 7. So just make sure, or at 10. So just make sure you call and check up with your bars or tavern that they're going to have this card earlier than normal. I did, and thankfully my local spot is going to have the bar and tavern. So, the bar and tavern to fight. Of course they're going to have a bar and tavern. That's what they are. But they're going to have the fight. Anyways. One thing I like to do before these cards is talk about is this card for casual or not. This card is not a casual friendly card. There's going to be a lot of wrestling. Maybe Barbosa and Paul Felder will be interesting. But for the most part, this is a wrestling card. So there you have it. Now, I'm going to be honest. There's 2 fights on this card that I'm not going to even try and go into full detail predicting. Because I don't know anything about either A, the opponent, or B, both fighters. And this fight right here, the first fight, I'm just going to go based off a first name. I'm going to choose Maribak Tusimov as he's going to beat Carlos Diego Ferreira. I don't know anything about these guys. I haven't watched any of their fights. You know, everyone's going to be like, wow, what a filthy casual. I'm sorry, man. My memory's fuzzy. Sometimes the UFC, what I like when they go out there and they do these Abu Dhabi cards is that they will put random guides on the card that I don't know anything about. And it makes me become fans of them. And that's really cool. But for the most part, when it comes to predictions, it sucks for guys like me who, you know, try to keep up with the sport, but there's so much going on. And also I watch NFL and I watch WWE and NBA. Just a little bit too much, a little bit. So, and the UFC always finding guys. It's just ridiculous. They find all these guys. I want to say, was Diego Ferreira, was he a contender dude? He sounds like his name rings a bell a little bit, but I don't have a Wikipedia in front of me. I'm just guessing, you know, so... Yeah, I'm going to choose Maribek Tusimov. Curtis Blades taking on Shamil Aburakaimov. I'm going to try to pronounce every last name because someone told me recently that it's good to try and not try at all. So I'm going to try to pronounce these last names. If I'm completely wrong, you guys can be dictionary in the comment section. That's fine. Blades is looking really good recently when it comes to his wrestling. You know, his only losses are to like Francis Ngannou, which kind of sucks for him because Ngannou is looking like a crazy stud right now. Shamil is probably one of the worst matchups for him because he is just amazing when it comes to wrestling. So it's going to be a fun little wrestling match if you're into that type of style of MMA. But I feel like Curtis Blades, with his experience in the UFC, and just his overall skill set, I think he's going to win this one via decision. I feel like it's going to be a third round. You know, it's going to be one of those fights where, you know, Curtis Blades, he wins the first round and everyone goes like, this is why he's so underrated. And he's going to be one of the title contenders. And then Shamil gets him with a good shot and then he takes him down. And then the fans are a little bit amped up. And then it's going to lead to an anticlimactic third round where Blades just lays on top of him and just pounds a crowd out of him. So there you have it. That sounds like a wonderful second fight on the card. And it's one of those fights that you were like, just please freaking end, because I want, as you're sipping on your Modelo or whatever you're drinking, you're like, please just end. I just want to get to the next fight. Baby Khabib, Islam Makhachev takes on Davey Ramos. Now, I don't know anything about Davey Ramos. Maybe I've seen him fight. His name's familiar. I've probably seen him on an ESPN Plus card. I know Baby Khabib. He's apparently like better than Khabib, even though he's 17-1. He's not 27-0 undisputed. So I know him. Like I've seen Baby Khabib fight like a couple times, and I don't know, man. He's never impressed me. Like everyone said that Baby Khabib is like a beast. I was like super excited to see Baby Khabib fight, and then Baby Khabib was just like, you know, he's okay. Davey Ramos, I don't know, like what's his ranking in the UFC? I mean, he has a great record, 10-2. But, you know, sometimes someone has a good record and that doesn't mean anything. So when I look at this fight right here, I'm just like, do I just go and predict Islam because I've seen him fight? Or do I choose an upset in Davey Ramos because I honestly have not been that impressed with Islam? I feel like I'm going to go with Davey Ramos here. I've never seen the guy fight. But I'm going to go with him because Islam, man, like, he didn't impress me, man. Like, everyone's saying he's better than Khabib. I was expecting him to maul the crud out of all of his opponents. And really, to be honest, he got tagged a couple times. He tries to strike too much when he shouldn't. So yeah, man, I don't know. I'm not putting in any stock on Baby Khabib. Baby Khabib, maybe he's just Baby Khabib for a reason. But yeah, so Davy Ramos, I'm choosing him as my upset pick. And if you guys see the odds on Davy Ramos is good, you better throw a C note on that, all right? Throw some money on that Davy Ramos. But if the odds aren't good, if you saw that, like, oh my God, he's now like a plus 150, no, forget about it. That means the Sharks came in. They saw the opportunity. They saw, like, Islam wasn't looking good in his last couple fights. So they're like, yeah, man, let's go with this Davy Ramos. Now it's time for the co-main event, Edson Barboza versus Paul Felder Dos. Paul Felder is an exciting fighter. He's fun to watch. He just wants to go out there and bang. He's grown a big following since being on the UFC announce desk. And Edson Barboza, he's kind of on a skid, man. Like, he's kind of hitting or missing right now. Not good for Edson Barboza. Like, I believe he's lost, like, the last 3 fights that he's been in. They've been exciting, but he's lost the last 3 fights he's been in. And Barboza really needs a win. The last fight he fought was Gaethje, and Gaethje knocked him out, man. I don't know where Barboza's chin is at. Barboza used to have, like, a big chin, and he would be able to take shots, like, and damage. So, I don't know. This is going to be an interesting fight. It's going to be a fun fight. Like, this is the fight for the casual fans. Like, and this fight will get slightly overrated, especially if all these fights that I talked about earlier are just wrestling matches, and this one's one of the few stand-up fights. Everyone's going to be like, yeah, that fight was really good. And it's just like, it'd be average on any UFC card. But it's hard because Barboza has just been, not been looking himself against top flight lightweights. But then again, Paul Felder, he's improved. He's looking good. He's a fun fighter to watch. But I'm going to have to go with Edson Barboza on this one, man. Like, I don't know. He always does good against lower competition. And maybe Barboza will give us one of those crazy knockouts and we're just like, oh my God, Barboza. How do we forget about him and stuff? So, yeah, Edson Barboza is the pick for me. Next, and now it's time for the main event. Thank God this is happening. I was so afraid. There was footage of Khabib weighing in before the official weigh-ins, and he was heavy. And I was like, oh my God, does he have to do the DC towel trick? I was fine if he had to do the DC towel trick. I just want to see this fight. Dustin Poirier is just on fire, man. Like, that Fall Out Boy song, the Light It Up, that should be his walkout song for this one because he's just on fire, man. This guy is just absolutely insane right now, and he's taking on one of the most scariest individuals in UFC history, and Khabib Nurmagomedov. Like, this is just going to be absolutely an insane fight, but it could go either 2 ways. 1, Poirier shocks the world and he beats Khabib, or 2, Khabib does what he always does and he mauls them, and he just goes and he talks to them. He says, "You're not ready for me." Boom, boom, boom. And I don't know. I love watching when Khabib does that, just because the punches that he throws are just so freaking hard. Like, it's just exhausting. And the thing about Khabib, when you watch him and you see him do that to their opponent, you get exhausted. You're just like, oh my God, I could not imagine being Poirier in this situation. And it was kind of funny. I liked how the UFC, like, played some of the videos for the fight flashbacks. They played the Michael Johnson one and the Conor one. And we all know between those 2 common opponents, those are the ones that I can think of off the top of my head. Poirier got knocked out by both of them. We all know what Conor said about Poirier. He's like a bag in the wind. Only takes him one left hand and he's going down. And then Michael Johnson took his soul. He ate his shit. Remember, Michael Johnson eats his shit whole. And he ate Dustin Poirier whole. So when it came down to it, Poirier's chin, it's been looking good, but he gets rocked a lot in a lot of these fights. That's where a lot of people, watching the fights against Alvarez and Holloway. And one thing is, Poirier's tough. I'm not questioning his toughness. I'm questioning if his chin can hold up. Because you saw in the Alvarez fight, if you rewatch that fight that they uploaded on YouTube, Alvarez hit him with a clean hook and Poirier was like, and he was rattled a little bit. And if it wasn't for the ref stopping because Eddie Alvarez made a rookie move with the 12-6 elbows, I don't know if Poirier would have finished that fight. And then when you look at the Holloway fight, Holloway just got outpaced near the end of the fight. But in the 3rd round, Holloway, pepper, and Poirier was getting rocked. And Khabib, he's no slouch, man. He has that right hand. It's sloppy, but he throws that right hand, man, and it can rock people. That's the thing. And Poirier's wrestling defense, I haven't really seen much fights with him against wrestlers that try to do that, because a lot of guys, like one of the things the UFC has done really well with Poirier is that they matched him up with guys that want to bang and strike. You know, a lot of the lightweight guys in the UFC do not really like the reason why Khabib has like a huge advantage over most of them. Like a lot of them have wrestling base. Like they're like, yeah, I can wrestle. But a lot of them, like if Khabib was in the welterweight division, it'd be pretty equal with a lot of his opponents like Usman, Covington, Askren, you know, RDA, a guy that Khabib has beaten, I believe, in the past. You know, those are guys where it's like, okay, look, they also have wrestling in their background. Leon Edwards, Khabib, you can compare wrestling between Khabib and everything like that because they all wrestle. In the lightweight division, Ferguson, McGregor, Barbosa, Felder, you know, all these names that Diaz when he fights there, Pettis when he fights there. Yeah, they can wrestle, but they prefer standing and banging. One thing that could help Poirier, though, is that I notice a lot in Khabib's fights, he gets a little bit cocky. And what I mean by cocky is Khabib loves to test his chin. And hopefully he learned from his good friend DC. Do not do this during this fight against especially a guy like Dustin Poirier who will take advantage. Because the one thing about Poirier, as I talked about in the Alvarez fight, he did take advantage. Alvarez had to be stood up, and Poirier took advantage of the fact that Alvarez was kind of upset at himself for throwing that 12-6 elbow, and he landed him with a nice clean left hook that got Alvarez rocked and ultimately finished the fight. Khabib, I've seen it in all the fights that they've uploaded. Michael Johnson, he's sitting there and letting Michael Johnson hit him. Like, I'm just like, what are you doing? Johnson's throwing some bombs, and Khabib, he has a chin. He can take the shots. Like, but Michael Johnson, if he actually just threw some more body shots or actually mixed it up a little bit, maybe there's a little bit more damage. We saw in the Ali Quinta fight, you know, granted, yes, Raging Al wasn't winning, but there's moments in the fight, especially via stand-up, he looked a lot better than Khabib. Khabib did not look good. The Conor fight, I know a lot of people paint that as a one-sided beatdown, but I rewatched it at least about 3 times. And Conor did lose the first 2 rounds. But you watch the 3rd round over again, and it's the round where Khabib and Conor are mostly just striking. It's really shocking how Conor actually was just piecing him up. I was like, oh my God, Conor's really doing well on the feet. Khabib is just taking these shots. And you know, there was a one shot that actually kind of phased Khabib a little bit, but not too much. He does have a chin, Khabib. But I feel like he gets a little bit too cocky with his chin. I feel like he lets it hang out there too much. And you don't want to do that against a guy like Dustin Poirier because he is an opportunist. He's going to see that and he's going to take advantage. He's not going to like that you're disrespecting him. One of the things, too, with Khabib that he's facing a guy that loves to rip the body a lot, too. Khabib has never faced a guy that loves to rip the body. Now, I don't know how Khabib's body's been tested because that's one of the hardest things when you have a guy like Khabib Nurmagomedov who's undefeated. But let's not forget, there's been times where Khabib has missed a lot of fighting. This is only his 3rd, 4th fight in 2 years. I know everyone's going to be like, that's a lot. But there was times where Khabib wasn't even fighting. And, you know, granted, yes, from the months of May to, I believe, August, he can't fight because of Ramadan. That's fine. But, you know, he had the back injury. There was talks that Khabib would never fight again. And this has been the hottest fighter that Khabib is going to fight. Dustin Poirier is on an absolute tear. I can't think of a time Khabib has fought a fighter that's been on fire. That's the thing. When has Khabib ever fought a fighter that's been on fire? Michael Johnson wasn't on fire when they fought. You know, Conor McGregor, he was definitely not on fire. He was on the proper 12, but he wasn't on fire. Edson Barbosa, was he on fire? No, I don't think so. Barbosa was kind of at that time. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting matchup. How does Khabib fight a fighter with good momentum behind him? It's going to be a fun fight, man. This is going to be a fight I'm looking forward to. But ultimately, you got to go with the undefeated, undisputed Khabib Nurmagomedov. I think he's just going to beat Dustin Poirier. From what I've seen from Poirier and watching other fights besides the free YouTube fights, it's just my question with Poirier is the chin and his wrestling. His wrestling has improved, but he hasn't faced a guy on Khabib's level. And Khabib is just one of those guys where it's just it doesn't matter where you're at. The way he takes you down, the way he postures you and everything, it's just insane. His wrestling is just absolutely insane, especially his MMA wrestling. I know everyone's going to be like, wrestling's different and different. So that's what makes me excited when Khabib ever goes to welterweight. We're going to get a lot of fun wrestling matchups. Him and Covington, him and Leon Edwards, him and Kamaru Usman. So yeah. So yes, there is my UFC 242 predictions. Sorry for all you hardcore fans if this was really casual for you. Hopefully you can forgive me. But what do you guys have for predictions? Leave them in the comment section down below. Thank you guys for watching this UFC 242 predictions. If you guys like what you saw, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on Twitter at ChaseOliver68. Give this video a big old thumbs up. Enjoy UFC 242 this weekend. I'll see you all next time. Peace.